Mercedes Sprinter van. It's getting both frame rails. Pain in the ass is what it is. I have one frame rail roughly sitting up in here.
I stay putting in that work. Everything I get, I'm work. You can tell by the way I walk, I ain't just talking about it. I stay putting in that work. Everything I get, I'm work. You can tell by the way I walk, I ain't just talking about it. I stay putting in that work.
Onto this monster. This is a Mercedes Sprinter van. It's getting both frame rails. They're a long ways over. Got the new ones right here. This is gonna be a monster. I'll be on this one for a while. I'm gonna pull these rails square first, and then I will start cutting these things off. So I had to chisel this part of this Q-pad section off, this sound deadening pad, because there's spot welds that go through into the frame rail right through here. I got to drill all those out all the way back to somewhere back in here. I got to figure out exactly where it ends at. You see all of these holes on the back of this frame rail right here, all the way around. Those are all welds. Welds that I have to grind out of the old one, and then I'll have to weld all these holes up on the new one whenever I get it up in there. Then I'll show you on the car. That's all of this area. I gotta grind all of these out. So this frame rail is just about all cut loose, I believe. I'm just gonna put a little downward pressure on it. I don't want to pull it hard, but sometimes these take a little help to get them to pop loose. It's moving. Looks like there's one weld right here that I missed. Well, I just realized there's some more welds. There's 2 layers here where the strut tower is, and the bottom layer I have to separate. I didn't realize there's 2 layers there, so I have some more welds around here I gotta drill out. Well, I got the rail mostly out. Just fell loose. Pain in the ass is what it is. So once I was able to see up inside of there, I want to make sure I didn't cut any of the inner stuff that I'm not replacing. But once I was able to see in there, I made a rough cut and got the bulk of that frame rail out. Now I'm trimming out the rest of this back section now that I can see what's going on. One frame rail cut out, one more to go. This one hopefully will go a little smoother now that I know where all the little hidden welds and lapped panels and everything are. So I'm gonna start cutting on this one now. So I've had a lot of people ask me what kind of drill bits I use. I just use these generic DeWalt drill bits. I do drill an 1/8 inch hole where each of the welds are, and then these bits fly straight through them. All right, I'm gonna put a little downward pressure on this rail and see if I can get it to pop loose. It's getting there. I still have something holding it somewhere in here. I had made a rough cut in order to take the bulk of it off. I'll still have to trim out the back. Alright, this thing's gonna come out now. Alright, I made a rough cut to get the bulk of that frame rail out. Now I gotta trim out this section right here, kind of like I did on this side. I have one frame rail roughly sitting up in here. I'm going to shift it around a little more, get it sitting just right, and then I'm going to mark where all my welds are. And then I'm going to take it back down, get all the spots for the welds prepped out and ready, and then I'll put it back up there permanently at that point and get it ready. Then I'll do the same thing on this side after that. So I'm making X's where I need to make holes for plug welds, and then I'm putting dots where I need to just clean down to bare metal. Luckily, Mercedes already put holes in this frame rail, which isn't very common, so I'm just marking where the welds are going to be so I can make sure I have a good clean surface to weld to. Now I'm doing the same thing here on the inside of the van, marking where all my welds are going to be, and then I'm going to lift that rail back out and clean off all of these spots down to clean metal so I can get nice clean welds. Almost there. I got that one roughly sitting up in there. Looks like it fits really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and get this side cleaned up and get this one sitting up in there. Then once I get to that point, I'll measure it all out and make sure they're sitting exactly where they need to be before I start welding. Alright, I have both of the rails sitting up in here. Now it's a matter of shuffling them a little bit until I get them exactly where they're supposed to be. I'm going to put this reinforcement bar on here first. You can see right there that they are already a little off. They got to be spread a little bit, but I'll get it dialed in perfectly whenever I measure it. Alright, back onto this Sprinter van. I have these frame rails sitting in there. I'm going to go ahead and measure them out, make sure they're sitting where I want them. If I need to shift them, A little bit I will. So in order to match the measuring system to the vehicle so it knows where it's sitting, I have to pick 5 points here in the center section of the vehicle to go to, and that'll match the measuring system to the car, and then it'll know where the frame rails are supposed to be sitting. Here's my first point. That's my second. All right, now I'm going to be able to measure these frame rails and make sure they're sitting exactly where they need to be. So it looks like this one needs to go over 4 millimeters and down 6. This one needs to go straight down about 9 millimeters. So I'm going to shuffle these around a little bit, get them right where they need to be. Well, this one measures out perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start welding these rails in. I have a lot of welding to do on this one. Well, I just burned a ton of welds. I've been welding for hours. But I'm gonna go ahead and clean some of these up. I think I got them all. But it's inevitable I missed a few, I'm sure. But as I go through and clean them up, I'm sure I'll see 1 or 2 I missed, and I'll hit those, get those welded, and it's all downhill from here. So I'm seam sealing down underneath here. I'm not too worried about the appearance because this is all going to get undercoat over it anyway. So this is more so just to seal off the seams for the purpose of keeping moisture and keeping the seams sealed up. Now I'm spraying some cavity wax down inside of here before I put this plug back in and lay some Q pads down. Now these are generic sound deadening pads that I got to stick down on this floor. I already got some white down on it to protect it. Then I'll cut these to size and stick these Q pads on down. Now these are just peel and stick, but you want to use a heat gun and warm them up, and then they fit to the contour a lot better and they stick a lot better if you get them warm. Now I'm just going to dust some white on top of these sound deadening pads to blend them in. So this one is getting close. What I have left now is these frame rails. They have a bunch of these studs all over them where different stuff, mounts, lines, and clips go to. So I have to measure these out. The new ones did not come with those studs for whatever reason. So I have to measure those out and put them in the same spots. And I have these replacements that will get zapped on. So this is our older model spot welder. I haven't used this thing in a long time, but it has the capability of zapping these studs on. I'll make sure I have the right tip. So I just had to dig this spot welder out of the corner. Like I said, it hasn't been used in a long time because most of the stuff we work on doesn't require these studs to be zapped on. But every once in a while one comes up. Turned out I didn't have the right size tip for these studs, so I took a regular tip and I drilled a hole in it to the right size, and it looks like it's gonna work just fine, just like that. Alright, I got the right side frame rail, all the studs on there. Now I'm going to do the left frame rail. So now I have these threaded nut inserts I have to put in here. The old frame rail had them in there. The new one didn't have holes for it. Why they make it without the holes, I'm not sure. But I have this bracket that I can line up with the bolt hole at the bottom, and I was able to mark right where it needs to be and then drill it out. And there's two of them on each frame rail. And there it is. This should tap right into place, but I'm gonna wait until they paint this so I don't leave any exposed bare metal inside of there. I have a little more seam sealer work to do. I gotta seal off all these things, and then I will spray my undercoat and it will be ready for them to paint. Now I have the undercoat. There's a bunch of undercoat that covers pretty much the whole back section of these frame rails, and then it gets white painted over on top of it. Alright, time to get this thing down off the rack.